Alyssa's mac and cheese, in stores now.
I know. I think I'm not leaving that room.
We actually cooked that mac and cheese for an hour and a half. Made no sense. Yeah. The bacon just wasn't baconing.
I burned the fuck out of my arm with my curling iron. Yeah.
Warning, Alyssa's mac and cheese could cause drowsiness, headaches, dizziness, unpleasant taste on the tongue, grogginess, stomachache, diarrhea, lower back or side pain, nausea. Get out there and try Alyssa's mac and cheese today. Back with some quick thoughts on the Big Brother 24 feeds. You would think it would have been a wild day on the feeds with the way the reactions have been on social media. Just complete meltdowns everywhere I've looked regarding Taylor's HOH. And to me, it's almost as if the fan base is just as bad as these players when it came to the way they acted towards Taylor the first 2 weeks. Because we were all able to see Taylor not be able to actually play the game the first 2 weeks because the house was filled with a bad combination of racism and groupthink. And so now, after Taylor's had to slowly get herself into the game, still being pawn most of the time, she finally gets some power, and we finally get to see her actually get to play a little bit of her own game. And what happens right away? The fans show her no grace, act like she's doing everything wrong, like she shouldn't be saying this to that person, shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't hang out with this person. The fan base is no better than the players, of course. It's honestly crazy to me, some of the reactions over the past 24 hours to Taylor's HOH. Her listening to Joseph, if anyone should have got the shit that everybody was giving, it should have been Joseph for trying to talk himself up onto the block, even though he was just trying to look out for his own jury management. Taylor's been trying to do that too with the girls, even though it's probably not even worth it. And is it too early to be trying to get jury votes or work on jury management? Yes and no. It is a little early for that because there's a lot of game to play. You got to get to the end first. But we see better juries in Big Brother all the time, so it's never too early to start some kind of jury management. So to me, I gave a calm video yesterday, as calm as I could on this situation, because I knew it would work itself out. As convoluted and ridiculous as Joseph's plan was to put himself on the block, and there was no connection how this was actually going to better Taylor's relationship with Indy and Jasmine and Alyssa if he goes up on the block and it's a blindside to them. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. I get it from Joseph's perspective, though, to get some jury management. I just think all the dramatics about it on social media was absolutely ridiculous, though. Taylor is still playing catch up on a social level because she is catching up on the 2 weeks she started the game without anybody. And she doesn't really have that many people still wanting to work with her. So her game is very limited. So she could only do what she's working with. I just find the outrage about her bad gameplay after her first chance to actually play in the game is ridiculous, because let's look at everybody else left. Indy has done no gameplay this entire time. Jasmine playing from the bottom and seems content with being at the bottom and being a goat to the end. Terrible gameplay. Alyssa's been here for a showman's. That's it. Kyle's game fell apart because he became Captain Virgin Energy as soon as he got with Alyssa, and his game has been distracted and falling apart ever since. Monty, the first 2 weeks when he was starting his social game, was throwing the one person trying to help him, Taylor, under the bus consistently. Terrence lies just to lie. No rhyme or reason, no real strategy, has been blindsided several fucking times. When Michael and Brittany started their social game, oh wait, what social game? They yap to each other about all the scenarios they want to do, but they have no real agency unless they're in power to make those things happen. Also, Michael went and won 5 fucking challenges pre-jury. Yeah, great gameplay. Brittany also has about 125 mini spirals a day. Joseph is the one trying to volunteer himself on the block this week, even though he saw what happened to Pooch and Nicole. And that leaves Turner, who I love as a character, one of the only people I like, but let's get real for a minute. Everybody's predicting he's going to win, but it's not like he's playing this great game. Turner is a bona fide coaster with the leftovers. He spent an entire week of his game just messing with Jasmine about muffins, which was very entertaining, but did nothing for his game. He is definitely a coaster, so everybody in this game sucks at it. And I've been saying this the whole time. They're not good players. So Taylor getting all this shit from the fan base for the past 24 hours was utterly ridiculous because nobody on this season is playing that well. And from Taylor's perspective, if there was actually gamers in this cast, her trying to work with the women this week to get on their good side could have worked if people like Jasmine and Indy had their heads actually in the game, maybe even Alyssa, because they've all been blindsided week after week after week. They should know they're at the bottom. Why not take this opportunity to form something new? But no, they suck at the game. So the outrage at Taylor, just stupid. They all suck at the game. That's why I don't care who goes home. It's just entertaining to see who fucks up next, I guess, at this point. It's actually very easy for me. I have 0 horses in this race of who I want to see win. I have a lot of people who I want to see lose, however. But we'll maybe get to that another time. Let's touch upon a quick other thing. So the Power of Veto happened. It was the prize one where you could get prizes or get punishments or get a trip somewhere, get money, get the veto, one of those. Kyle won the veto. Taylor still got a punishment, which we'll get to. Very interesting from production there. Jasmine got a trip. First, let's talk about the punishment for Taylor, which is to be basically tied to Joseph for 48 hours. This is why I continue to analyze production. Do you really think production's going to let the fake showmans or the actual showmans? I mean, they're both kind of fake showmances, to be quite honest. I don't think anybody's truly into the other. I mean, Kyle's into Alyssa. Will Alyssa be into Kyle after this game? I'll be surprised. But production will work their asses off to get 80%, at least 80% or more of what they want to see happen. Production on this show will get their way. And what production wants is showmances for the TV episodes. So that's why I knew Joseph was never in real trouble this week. I didn't know exactly how it was going to work itself out, but I know Joseph wasn't going home. With Kyle winning the veto, they were still stuck on the Joseph plan for a while. Taylor was anyway, even though Joseph was against it now. I think production finally maybe talked to him about it, asked him some questions about how stupid it was to put himself as a pawn. Monty and Brittany did a very good job of turning the target onto Alyssa. Alyssa said some stupid shit when Taylor won HOH. She was upset when Kyle was hugging Taylor after she won and beat him because he got second place. Alyssa basically said Taylor should calm down when she was celebrating too much for winning the walk comp.
I mean, if we're talking about this week alone, if you want to kick off the week rolling your eyes, talking about, oh, calm down, when I win the wall, if you want to, while I'm HOH, take away my trip to London, when you could wait for the rest of the prizes that you know are coming down the line.
And in exchange, give you a punishment for 48 hours?
Sounds like someone who just is feeling so comfortable.
All right.
Monty and Brittany were telling her this shit about Alyssa because one definite weakness in Taylor's game is to constantly want to work with these women. I still contend keeping someone like Jasmine around for Taylor's game, even though Jasmine may come after Taylor at some point. Taylor needs to get to the end with someone like Jasmine if she's going to get winning votes in this game. I still contend that. And Taylor has been trying to work her own social game this week. That's why she's trying to work with the women. It's the first week that she's in power and really has a chance to do this, which is why, once again, I was annoyed by the outrage. Taylor should have a chance to play her own social game, even if there's some stupidity in it, even though Joseph is the one putting some of that shit in her head. But Taylor is now tied to Joseph for 48 hours, so they can get some showman's footage of those two. Production's going to get their way. That is why now with the target turning to Alyssa, thanks to Monty and Brittany, I don't see Alyssa going because I don't think production wants that to happen either. It does, however, really mess up Kyle's game, which is beautiful, because as it stands right now, Monty and Brittany, I still contend Brittany has such awesome reads. I still think she sucks at a lot of things. She has about 175 spirals a day, but Brittany has good reads. Monty, I talked about earlier, talk shit about his start socially. It was very terrible the first 2 weeks. Most of these people's games have been terrible at some point, some consistently terrible. But Monty has definitely turned around. I think he has found his Xavier's sweet spot of being the calm, rational, logical person in the Leftover Alliance. And he did a really good job of painting the target on Alyssa's back today. Brittany trying to find a social game to try and get close to Taylor again tonight. Brittany seems to flip-flop her thoughts on Taylor, but I see Brittany trying to maybe outmaneuver Michael here, because Michael's ready to give up on Taylor completely and go to the end with somebody like Indy or Jasmine. He's been wanting to do that for a while now. But Brittany trying to maybe still work things out with Taylor, which would be best for her game. Brittany cannot go to the end with Michael and expect to win. So I like Brittany figuring out other possibilities. How many possibilities will she run through in her head, though? Probably too many. Also, to be fair to Joseph's game, because y'all know I like to hype up Joseph, even when he makes really annoying things like wanting to go on the block as a pawn. Joseph was the first person pushing for Alyssa to go next anyway, so this works in Joseph's favor too. I still don't see Alyssa going home this week, but it puts Kyle in that spot where if the Leftovers really try to push him to use the veto and put up Alyssa next to Indy as Alyssa as a target, then Kyle either has to protect Alyssa, which I think production will try to push him to do, but if he does that, then he shows disloyalty to the Leftovers, the Big Alliance. Kyle handcuffed to the Big Alliance like everybody else. So that is where we stand. My quick update for the day. I think it should be an interesting veto. Well, Kyle has another decision to make, just like last time when he had veto. But last time was before he got into the actual showmance with Alyssa. And now he has to do this again. Also, how I knew Joseph would probably be safe this week is because he has Jasmine, the married Jasmine, going face down, ass up for him this morning, talking about how she slept naked last night at one point. Jasmine continues to be very odd with Joseph, very awkward, because Joseph don't want her ass, and Jasmine's married. Jasmine also asked Joseph a very odd question about what if they were the two tied together.
What if you would have been linked to me for 48 hours?
I wouldn't care. The fuck?
Damn.
It's not uncomfortable.
Kyle is definitely between a rock and a hard place if the Leftovers continue to push for this plan, and I think Monty and Brittany will continue to do so. Taylor is in her petty era, which I've been waiting for because she's been too nice this entire game. Her finally being annoyed with Alyssa still talking shit, being fake to her face and talking shit behind her back, like all the girls do. Even Brittany does it to Taylor, to be quite honest. So, will be an interesting week. Kyle will have an important decision to make on Monday, but there's a long time until Monday, so we'll see what actually happens.